steps 1 through 5 of the Knee Ability Zero program are sort of the foundation of the program. It's kind of the foundation of the results behind the program, where if you think about it like building a house, think about your body as the house. You wouldn't build a house on a shaky foundation. You wouldn't start at the roof. You wouldn't start without making sure that your foundation is solid. For the body, our foundation is the lower leg, calf, tib, ankle, foot. Once we have that foundation shored up, nice and strong, it's going to be able to absorb more pressure. Okay, so it's a knee ability program, but we're starting from the ground and working up because gravity affects us in a downward fashion. That means our ankle and our foot is kind of the first line of defense against gravity. So we want to make sure that lower leg is up to par with the rest because it's kind of the first link in the chain. So we're going to start by addressing the calf with what's called an FHL calf raise. This is targeting a muscle lower on the back side of the leg that wraps all the way around and connects to your big toe. We're going to do this by standing at the wall, and you take a step back from the wall. So we're creating a flexion angle with our ankle as the starting position. And then from there, it's just a simple calf extension. Squeeze the quads to keep the knees straight. And this progresses by moving your feet further away, increasing the angle, and also unilateral, loading just one leg at a time. And that's going to be kind of the starting approach to the calf. Then we're going to flip around and attack the front side of the leg. So the calf on the back, obviously, this is going to target the tibialis anterior muscle that starts up here at the top of the tibia and connects all the way down here on the inside of the foot. It actually runs over the top of the foot. So this is how we're addressing the front side of the ankle. And all we're doing here, butt against the wall, back stays off the wall. Find a comfortable distance for your heels. And we're just flexing our toes up. If that's difficult, you can make it easier by moving your heels closer to the wall. And then obviously progress by moving them further away. This is getting tougher. Notice how that's changing the angle of my starting position. Back to the calf again. The calf's made up of multiple different muscles, so we've got multiple different ways of training it, as opposed to the tib is just one muscle. So this is a bent knee calf raise. We're bending the knee, and that's helping us target the soleus muscle of the calf that lays underneath the gastrocnemius, which are the two that you normally see on the outside. The soleus muscle is below those, and we're going to target that by bending the knee. We're going to hold this knee bend isometrically throughout the ankle extension, just like that. There's a tendency to extend the knee as you extend the ankle on this movement, but you want to keep that knee bend where it's at. Focus on locking that in while you extend the ankle. You can progress this by bending the knees further, getting into a steeper degree of knee angle, and also by loading one leg unilaterally. Next step is the Patrick step, or reverse step up. We're starting this one from flat ground. Very simple movement, very short range of motion. All we're doing, working one side at a time. I'm just reaching out with my heel, letting it touch the ground, and then coming back up. I'm not resting on that. I want to keep my non-working leg nice and straight and the heel flexed. So I'm not using that as a way to cheat the movement. I want to keep this nice and strict, keep the tension loaded to the quadricep. This is going to be targeting this vastus medialis muscle of the quadricep, sits right above the knee. And if you notice, it's also kind of dipping your toe into the knee over toe angle. See how that's creating a very slight knee over toe angle? That position creates pressure on the knee. Now, people hear pressure and it scares them a little bit. Pressure isn't a bad thing. Pressure just needs to be adapted to over time. You can affect the connective tissue that ties the muscle to the bone It just takes time and adaptation, and that tissue is slower than muscle tissue. So we want to make this a very gradual progression with the knee over toe position, and this is kind of the starting block for that. And you want to find a distance for your heel that allows you to get 15 to 20 reps, so you can get a good pump in that thigh muscle there. And to progress this, there's a way to measure your foot position. If you put lines on the floor, you can track your foot position, and that's how you're going to load that further. See how that's increasing the angle of knee bend? That's how you're progressing, is by reaching that non-working leg forward incrementally as you progress. Now, last but not least, the fifth step of the knee ability program is kind of the bread and butter. This is the split squat, where we're starting from an elevated working platform. This is a mobility box, a piece of equipment that ATG makes specifically for progressing movements like this, where if you don't have one of these, bumper plates, anything that elevates your working platform to about 16 to 20 inches is a good place to start. And all we're doing is pushing that knee over the toe, loading it eccentrically before we concentrically contract and come out. So what this is doing is it's pulling that quad muscle to length and then contracting it. So we are putting more pressure on the knee with this movement. That's why we're elevating the front foot, and we have the assistance pulls there to handle the pressure better. So we can control the amount of pressure that we're applying simply by putting more weight in our hands. I'm carrying most of my body weight in my hands here. It's not a ton of pressure on the knee, but it could be a great place to start for someone who hasn't been into this position before in their life. It's going to be more of a learning curve than, say, someone who's been training it for a while. So you have to understand and be honest with yourself. You have to understand where your ability is and be honest with yourself about that, because if you progress too fast, if you put too much pressure on the knee, it can be counterproductive. So you want to find wherever that comfortable spot is for you to start and get 10 to 12 reps in that deep flexion angle. So the more flexion that we get, see how the hamstring is completely covering the calf here? That's full knee flexion. In full knee flexion, there's quite a bit of pressure on the knee. So we want to gradually get into that. The knee ability program provides results to anyone that takes it seriously, anyone that is going to be honest with themselves about their ability and really embrace the principles of the knee over toe progression.